Hey, greetings and welcome to another great episode of the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, John Paulus. Also here with our... Yeah, I already messed it all up. Hi. So I'm going to try to steer the ship today. Isn't that fun? So welcome to another great episode of the Power Gamer Podcast. This is episode 158. I'm joined, as always, by my fellow hosts, Mike Dawson and Kim Ponticello. How's everybody doing? Sorry we've been AWOL for a little bit. We had some just backing up, and there wasn't really a whole lot of things to talk about. But boy, do we have some shit to talk about today. First off, how's everybody been? Mike, how you been? Everything all right?
Well, right off the bat, I am so pleased to be watching you drive the bus that is the Power Gamer Podcast this week. I have been tremendously busy, as we've been chronicling here for the past, month and a half. And I finally, something I've always struggled with is I'm one of those types that feels like I can take everything on, I can do everything myself, and I really struggle to ask for help when I'm overwhelmed. I'm totally that type of person. Johnny, better than most, knows this from having worked with me in a professional setting before, semi-professional setting before.
Yeah.
I struggle at asking for help. And so, before we got started this week, I finally did the thing that I don't often do, which is say I could use a little help writing the show, steering the boat, and it just kind of led to, hey, why don't you just try and steer the ship this week and give it a whirl. So throw all your love and support to Johnny as he settles into the driver's seat this week running the show. But things have been good. I've just been extremely busy with music projects and work. I'm playing the famous Madam's organ in DC this weekend. Next week I'm playing at the historical Middleton's Tavern in Annapolis. And I've got another gig with a full orchestra the week after that. And I'm playing the Squarepants Festival in Baltimore. So I've just been slammed. And these are all with different groups. So I'm trying to balance all of these rehearsals with, in my free time, trying to learn all of this material. And it has just been bananas. So, but other than that, keeping busy, doing good. Forced a little time to play some games this week, which was awesome. So we're going to talk about that here in a bit. But Johnny, things are going well.
Awesome. What about you, Kim? How you been?
I've been good. Nothing too exciting, really. I've just been kind of doing my thing and going day by day and attempting to do stuff I need to get done with the move. And that's it. I really have nothing exciting going on. Just streaming as always and packing boxes and figuring out what I'm taking and what I'm leaving and realizing I have a lot of collectibles that I'm not going to bring with me. Because I just have them because I had Loot Crate, but I don't really want them. Like, there's like a lot of Marvel and DC stuff that I'm not super interested in. So I will let you know. I promise, Donnie. I will let you know.
I mean, I could PayPal you some shipment fees for a box and some.
I'll let you know what I have. Yeah.
I actually have a buddy coming to visit this week, and he lives up in Provincetown and he works at a thrift store there. So he's always like sort of letting me know, like, hey, is this cool? Is this worth anything? What's this? What's that? So over the course of the last few months, one of them was, he was like, hey, a guy just came in with some comic books, which he's done 1,000 times. And every time I look at him, I'm like, yeah, it's a bunch of garbage. Put them at $1 a piece. This one time, he opens up the box. He sends me a video. He's going through them. And I'm like, there's the first appearance of Galactus, Fantastic Four. There's the first appearance of Black Panther. There's like, these are like really actually valuable and like culturally significant Fantastic Four comics. And I was like, Matt, whatever you can get them for at your thrift store, like, I will pay you. Please get me that entire stack. And
that's like, really
okay,
cool.
Done. So he's He's coming with that box. It'll be in my
That
hands
is
tomorrow.
awesome. Yeah, I'll let you know. Once I go through, I'll take pictures of everything I have that I don't want, and I will absolutely let you know what I have.
And then another one I'm excited about. He sent me a video making fun of it, and I was like, "Oh, you're buying that and bringing it to me." It is a life-size bust of Caesar from the Planet of the Apes movies.
Oh, that's badass, though.
Yeah, dude, I mean, it's like literally life-size. You're going to see it on the shelf right here on the next episode of the podcast.
That is so cool.
Cannot fucking wait.
That's
so
really,
pumped.
really, really cool. Yeah,
You know what's
that's awesome.
even cooler?
What?
Is that you've married someone I know that will tolerate that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Isn't that nice?
It is nice. Yeah, it's
that
great.
Is so nice, man. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, there's Funko Pops, and I mean, like right here. Let's see, right there is that's a life-size Baby Yoda that's made out of the actual cast for the puppet, so he looks exactly like the show.
That's really cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. He wasn't cheap, but he was the one expensive thing where I was like, wait, they have a payment plan? Oh, okay, well, let's. Yeah.
Yes, you successfully financed Grogu.
I did. No, it was like we'll charge you $40 a month, and then when it comes out, like, you know, whatever the date was, we'll send it to you. I was like, $40 a month, I can do that. No big deal. Didn't really tell my wife the day that I did it, but you know,
it's okay. It's okay.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's okay.
We got through it.
Yeah.
Moving on, our first section of the podcast tonight, we are going to talk about Xbox shutting down 4 of their development studios. Per Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, Microsoft Corporation Xbox Gaming Division will shut down 4 subsidiaries, including the game studio Arcane Austin, according to an email reviewed by Bloomberg. So the total list on the chopping block is Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog, formerly Human Head Studios, and Roundhouse were all on the chopping block. So this means the developers of Hi-Fi Rush, Ghostfire Tokyo, The Evil Within, a whole bunch of, and more recently Redfall, are all gone. Mike, what were your initial, thoughts when this was sort of went down?
So right, you've come to me first, sir, and I've got a little bit to say about.
I'm sure you do.
Got a little bit to say about all this. I guess where to even begin? Well, number one is I'm entirely not surprised by any of this. The whole I know, and I'll just make a quick aside. I know the Connection's acting completely fucking stupid. So if it gets too bad, just send me a message and tell me to shut my shit down and reconnect. I don't know what's been going on. So this past week, we straight up didn't have internet for like an entire day, and I watched Wrath of Khan on VHS to keep myself sane.
Ooh.
So
good choice, though.
Took a ride on the struggle bus.
The good thing is with Riverside is as long as it picks back up, everything's recorded locally and then uploaded later. So there should be no break in what actually makes it onto the episode. That all being said, I'm so not surprised by the Microsoft closure of studios, even though that feels like a bit of a conundrum, right? We're talking about a very financially healthy entity in Microsoft. However, the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King has put some heavy eyes on the financial operations of Xbox, given that they spent $80 billion to buy Activision. So it's clear that there's been some kind of paradigm shift within Xbox that we need to start being profitable. Here begins the conundrum, is that Xbox has been pushing for years, basically since the end of the last generation, this idea of Game Pass. And Game Pass is not profitable at all. It does not give a return anywhere close to what they need to pull to pay for the games that they're putting on the service, to pay for the games that they have in development, to pay for day-to-day business. It's nowhere close to what they were expecting to be at this point. It is leveled off. It is not growing. And it, frankly, will never get to where it needs to be. But they're so committed to this. They've been pumping it for so long that there's like this catch-22 where it feels like Xbox doesn't feel like they can get out of this service at this point. So here comes all the problems. Let's start with Game Pass itself. We've said since its inception that on the consumer side of things, you're dumb to not take advantage of this service because of how much it gives you for so little a month. If you play on Xbox and you don't have Game Pass, frankly, I don't know what you're doing. The problem is that Game Pass is designed in such a way for a person who almost doesn't exist. Nobody has the bandwidth to play all the games that you get on Game Pass. It's just not possible. And I mean, I've been reminded of that harshly here in the past month as I've been working full time and doing stuff, not doing this like kind of full time adjacent work for the show where, you're sinking in 8 hours a day. Most people only have a few hours a night. And you'd be better off if you're that kind of person to just either sign up for Game Pass, play things here and there, or just buy the game that you want to play and play it. But I think the problem is that Microsoft has trained people that come and play on their platforms to do Game Pass and to not buy games. So they're not getting those 100% turns on self-developed games. They're not getting those free 30% rips on games that other people are putting on their marketplace because people are not buying games for their console and within their ecosystem. They are not. Johnny, you're an avid PC gamer. Kim, you are as well. When you're going to buy a game for PC, you're never going to buy it on Xbox Marketplace, correct? You're going to buy it on Steam or Epic if that's your only choice.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's everyone. Nobody interacts with their store to make purchases. Can you imagine what Sony would look like if everyone just stopped buying fucking games? How is your model as a console developer to train your audience to not buy the only profitable aspect of what you do? Sony doesn't give a fuck if you buy the console. They want you to buy the games. They've sold their consoles at a loss for years, since the PS3 era. They've been doing this.
Yep.
So their brilliant plan was to get rid of all of their profit in hopes that they could achieve some insane number of people paying for a subscription, which frankly is too cheap. I mean, I've said this before. If you look at what Spotify costs versus the cost of a CD, and then you look at what Game Pass costs versus the cost of a game, it's ridiculous. It's almost as if some completely unqualified person came up with their entire game plan, said this is what we're doing, and they've stuck with it, and they're unwilling to change at this point. And they keep pretending that they're doing better than they are. When they come out in public and they talk about how they're doing, they're always skewing the numbers or not telling you the full picture and saying everything is great, but they won't ever show you the numbers. And it's obvious how it's going. Tango Gameworks has been making incredible games for the platform. The only game that Xbox had that even had a chance at winning an award last year was Hi-Fi Rush.
Yep.
And by all their broadcasts in the media, Xbox, Phil Spencer, they came out and said, this game has been exceeding our expectations.
Yep.
Well, number one, what the fuck does that mean? If you're not selling the game, what expectations are being met? How can you measure that? Were people signing up for Game Pass just to play Hi-Fi Rush? Or
No.
were the people who were already subscribed interacting with the game? Well, the truth you can see in the engagement for the achievements. It's the latter. And even still, those people with Game Pass didn't really interact with it through completion. So what do they mean by the game was exceeding expectations? There's something they're looking at that told them that this game is doing well and doing what we want. Then you look to the other side, and here we are, a year removed, and they've taken the only studio to produce a game for them that, again, had any shot at winning any kind of awards in the Game Awards, BAFTAs, you name it. And they've closed the studio. Arcane Austin was also closed. Yeah, Redfall, hot fucking mess. I know it.
Yep.
I played the entire game. I can talk till I'm blue in the face about it.
The biggest Xbox flop of last year, period.
Probably of all time.
Yeah.
But I remember Xbox coming out and saying, this was on us. We didn't manage this team correctly. We let this one get away. They never pinned it on Arcane Austin. And Arcane Austin has a history of excellence. So I'm trying to put together everything that's in front of me. And here's what I come up with, at least. And this will end rant. I come up with that the leadership at Xbox, the Phil Spencers, the Matt Booties, they say whatever they think you want to hear to tell their fanboys, to tell their creator legions on YouTube, their trolls on fucking X. They say whatever they need to empower those people to think that they're winning some war. They're not even on the fucking battlefield. They're just pretenders. Yep. Their service is killing them. Xbox is done. I mean, straight up. If they cannot get out of this Game Pass model and start selling some fucking games, they're done. And the first people to admit that that's true is Xbox. Because, oh, look, they released 4 games on PlayStation. The number 2 best-selling game on PlayStation in the United States last month was Sea of Thieves. The number 1 best-selling game in Europe on PlayStation was Sea of Thieves. Grounded is charting within the top 10 in both regions. So they have good products from their teams. But the mismanagement delta of Xbox is absolutely fucking insane. Like, you have people in power in that company that literally have no idea what they're doing, and they're just running it into the ground. And I hate that. I love Xbox. Xbox 360 was a golden era for me. I love that console. But I mean, really, since Phil showed up, it's been a train wreck. And people think that it's been better since he's been around. It's been fucking worse. And it's never been worse than it is now. They are scrambling, looking for ways to sell games because they know they can't sell them on their console because they have trained their base to not buy anything.
Yep.
So am I surprised that Tango has been shut down? I'm not surprised at all. Because I don't think Hi-Fi Rush or Ghostwire Tokyo has the potential to put the dollars back that they need to make the next Fallout game, to make the next Elder Scrolls game, to make the next Halo or the next Gears. And they would rather just see that personnel reabsorbed into ZeniMax Asia than have to pay a development team. Am I surprised that they shut down Arcane Austin? No, because I don't actually expect Xbox to mean anything they say when they say that they're responsible. Because I think they're just telling people what they want to hear and not actually telling the truth. And finally, for those that say, oh, well, but Xbox just came out with their financial statement and they're up. Well, if you took out the Activision acquisition, they would be double digits down. They are dying. And if something doesn't change soon, they keep saying things like, oh, we need small teams to make great games. Well, what the fuck was Tango?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my viewpoints on this. I'm not surprised that they closed Tango. I'm not surprised that they closed Arcane Austin. Ninja Theory, you better watch the fuck out, because your tiny ass Senua game, it's not going to do it. Because you are hanging on by the threads of how well you sell on PC. Because nobody's buying it on Xbox. People expected this game to be bigger. It's small. It's locked at 30 frames a second. It's happening all over again. I wouldn't be surprised if they're closed next.
Well, yeah, and I remember when they had, I think it was last year, they had the big Xbox live stream presentation, and they're announcing all these big games and giving us all these big trailers. And before every single one of those trailers was day one on Game Pass.
Day one
and the
on
whole
Game
time
Pass.
I'm sitting there thinking, how the fuck are they going to make any money? And I mean, you already know the way they've got it set up now. When they announce Gears of War, if they don't say day one on Game Pass, the entire Xbox community is going to revolt like you've never seen. They've been taught they don't need to buy games. You're absolutely right. They have been taught and trained. Just keep doing the Game Pass, and although we don't have that many games coming, every goddamn one of them is going to be right there ready for you the day it comes out on Game Pass. It's crazy. Kim, what was your takeaway on all this?
I think so. I'm not going to get like too deep into the nitty gritty, because I think the thing that I keep thinking about and focusing on is, Tango Gameworks holds this like really, really special place in my heart. I love the Evil Within games. Literally just watched my brother finish up Evil Within and Evil Within 2, and we were discussing what a masterpiece Evil Within 2 was. And as he's playing it, I'm like, they're closed. They're done. I mean, granted, Shinji is no longer there anyway, but still, just the thought process behind it kills me, because if you look at every single one of their games, the marketing behind their games, which really should have been, that should have been, it's not on them, it's not on the developers, really. The marketing has been so bad. Ghostwire Tokyo, there was like no marketing for that game. And they released it a month after the biggest game of 2022, Elden Ring. They still went ahead and said, we're just going to go ahead and release Ghostwire Tokyo. Nobody knows that game. And it is such a fantastic game. Visually, the voice acting, the gameplay, it is so different and so unique and so beautiful. And it literally just kind of like flew under the radar, because no marketing, and releasing it with, right alongside Elden Ring. It just like Evil Within 2, that there was no marketing for Evil Within 2. And so it like breaks my heart, because even though Tango has like these big publishers behind them, Tango kind of like works like this little indie, they're
Right.
like a little indie dev company, that makes these games and really puts their heart into them. And then they kind of just get stepped on because, nothing was done as far as marketing, and, just no thought process behind when games come out. And the fact that they can sit here and say, like, literally right after this all happened, what did somebody say? They were like, we're really looking to come out, we're really looking to have a small, strong game to represent. That was Hi-Fi Rush, you fucking idiots.
Yeah, you already had it.
Like, what do you mean? Ghostwire Tokyo could have been another one. Like, but like, no, it literally drives me absolutely insane, because you know what? Corporations be corporating. And that's it. That's it.
Amen.
They're so terrible. They're so horrible, and they're just so fucking dumb. They're just so dumb. They're so fucking out of touch and out of the loop and completely oblivious to anything, because they're all just, their heads are literally stuck up their asses. And that's all.
Yeah, I mean, to your point as well, I mean, the marketing on Ghostwire was basically non-existent. And I think a lot of that was the acquisition for Bethesda, so ZeniMax, the parent company. had begun and actually closed before that game came out and it was contracted to come to PlayStation. So is Microsoft going to spend money to advertise the game coming to PlayStation? Well, not back then, because back then they still thought, oh yeah, we've got Game Pass, we're good. You know, this was before they realized, oh shit, we actually make money by selling games on PlayStation. And then with Hi-Fi Rush, they just shadow dropped it out of nowhere. Nobody knew what it was until the day it was released.
Yep.
100%. They didn't promote it ahead of time. They just went, here's a new game. It's out today.
Nothing.
It's wild.
Nothing.
It's wild.
Because they're out of touch. Because it's run by people that can't look at a game and say, guys, we might have a really big hit on our hands. They can't do that. You know, and that's the problem with so many of these big corporations. Let's not even talk about a quadruple A game. Like, these CEOs are just so out of touch when it comes to what their player base wants and what's going to be a hit. And they're just completely out of touch at this point. And that's a huge problem, because if they would have taken a look, I don't know, it's like, have a little bit of foresight to say, hey, let's throw some marketing behind this. I think this is going to be a big hit. But they don't. They're just dummies. They're just dummies.
Well, and like on their Game Pass thing, I mean, the thing that really gets me is again that day one on Game Pass. I mean, I feel like they could make it more profitable as a company if their big releases were not on Game Pass, but they built up the number of games similar to what PlayStation has done, where it's like the older games, like, here you go, here's all these and all the, I mean, even if they took Hi-Fi Rush, Hellblade 2, Halo Infinite, just took those off of Game Pass, I don't think their subscriber numbers would hurt as much. Most of it is gamers like us that go, it's only how much a month? And you look at the list of games and go, Jesus Christ, yeah, I'll pay that, fine. You know, I'm not paying the subscription for Starfield. I played Starfield. Would I have purchased Starfield if it wasn't on Game Pass? Yeah, I probably would have. You know, and I don't think I'm in the minority there. I think a lot of those bigger titles, I think they think that it's those huge big titles that are going to get them the subscriber numbers, when the reality, I think, is just the quantity of games, the value in, it's like Netflix, right? I pay for Netflix not because of the brand new movie that just came. No, I buy it because they Netflix gets my money because they're constantly getting this influx of older shit, movies I haven't seen in a while. And I'm like, oh, dude, they got such and such on there. I mean, like, that's a big part of my value with Netflix. It's a big part of my value with the PlayStation subscriptions. Is I like to get nostalgic sometimes and rock out some of those games, but they have to get away from this day one on Game Pass for every single big title. I mean,
agree. As much as I hate, as a consumer, I hate saying that, because hello, I'm a variety streamer,
right.
So I'm like, day one Game Pass.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, absolutely. You go, fuck it, I'll stream it tonight.
But as far as like marketing and being smart in terms of making money and being able to keep small studios open to say, hey, we have these smaller games, we can put some of these smaller games on Game Pass, big kitty little, or big little kitty big city, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Put all these beautiful, wonderful games on Game Pass, but then have the really big sellers. I think that's a smart way to do it, because you're still making money. I don't know how they can possibly make money if it's like literally every single thing, day one on Game Pass. I'm like, how can this be? And again, selfishly, I'm like, yes, but then things like this happen, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, the whole thing you guys are talking about is exactly the correct thing. And Sony and Nintendo did not get into the subscription game for any reason other than just to hold their weight against Game Pass. And here's what's ironic, is they're both making tons of money off of their subscription services. Why? Because the games they have on them. Look at PlayStation's catalog. Those games don't cost them anything to have on there. Those games already ran their course and sold. They're not having to pay hardly anything. And they're charging, the premium on the quantity of things that cost nothing.
Right.
And they're just making money hand over fist. And then they're still collecting You know, the $70 for your digital purchase of Stellar Blade, $70 for your digital purchase of Rise of the Ronin. It's not hard. Microsoft,
Right.
you invented the problem. Your competitors found the solution, and you're ignoring the solution. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, and like one of the analogies I think of is one of my favorite subscriptions that I pay is for a service called Marvel Unlimited. And Marvel Unlimited is a comic book subscription. And essentially, nearly any comic book that's like older than 6 months is on there. If you want to sit and read 180 issues of Spider-Man in a row, you could do that. But if Marvel was stupid enough to say, check out our new subscription thing, day one on Marvel Unlimited, every comic book store in the fucking country would go out of business within 6 months. Like, it's so ridiculous, the way that they're doing it. The only other streaming service that has a similar sort of angle, and I also don't think is sustainable, is HBO Max. Like, a movie's in theaters, and then like a month and a half later, it's on their service. And it's just like, now people aren't going to the fucking movie theaters because they're like, well, shit, it's just going to be on streaming in 2 months. I'm not in any rush. I'll just wait. And like, that's where they're really like, people will spend the money if they don't want to wait. If you don't make them wait, then they just won't spend the fucking money. They can look at it and go, oh, a month? Yeah, I can wait a month.
Well,
and Xbox isn't even doing that. Here's your brand new game, $70. We spent fucking a gajillion dollars to get it made, and here it is for $17 a month.
There is another layer to the onion that has affected Tango, has affected Arcane, so on and so forth. And it's that at this point, Microsoft has a strange problem. Gesundheit.
Bless you.
They have too many game studios. Okay, and you might sit there and think to yourself, how can you have too many game studios? Look at Embracer. Okay, when you have all of these game studios and they're all making games and they're all releasing them, you start cannibalizing yourself. And again, the competition has shown the way. Sony doesn't have nearly as many studios. We don't even know what any other studios are fucking doing right now except Insomniac, because they got leaked. They have too many studios. They're too big. People don't have the bandwidth to play all these games. Embracer learned this lesson the hard way. Square Enix, that released like 3 games in the same month last year, several times, they're in trouble. You know, they've been all over the news this past week that, you know, moving forward, they're going to release their games on every platform. Moving forward, they have new leadership for scheduling their title releases. Moving forward, you know, there's going to be less because people don't have the bandwidth for all this shit. You know, you think it must take some fucking genius or something to tell people that the pandemic's not how life is going to be forever. That people aren't just trapped in their houses forever, where all they can do is play fucking games. Yeah. But apparently, you do have to be a fucking genius to understand this concept, because these CEOs keep hiring people, keep buying up all these teams, and now they're laying people off in record numbers. They're closing studios that don't deserve to be closed. And these fucking morons at the tops of these companies get to keep their cushy jobs and don't get fired. How the fuck does Phil Spencer and Matt Booty still have jobs?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yep. No, it doesn't. And before we wrap up this segment and move on to the next, I want to be one of the only content creators I'm aware of that is going to pour one out for Alpha Dog Software, okay? Alpha Dog Software, before they were Alpha Dog Software, they were Human Head Studios. The year is 2007, and Human Head Studios develops one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time, Prey, the game where you play as a Cherokee American Indian who is taken by aliens, and it's this awesome fire in the sky game, and yeah, they're now gone too. So I know that was in 2007. I know it was a long fucking time ago, but that's still a really solid game that those guys made.
The OG Prey.
That's right. The OG Prey. The OG Prey. Correct.
Not the reboot
Moving
that
on.
probably should have just been named something else.
Should have been named something else. 100%. Absolutely. Moving on to our next segment, we are going to talk about the games that we have been playing. Since I am driving the bus, I am going to start this off.
Okay.
Number 1, Dave the Diver has been completed.
Let's go.
When I looked it up on the website, it said that the average time to beat the game was 24 hours. It took me 40.
Those are some Mickey times.
And I gotta tell you, if Sea of Stars did not come out the same year as Dave the Diver would have won Indie Game of the Year. No question, full stop. This game is a masterpiece.
But it's not an indie game.
It isn't?
No.
It was nominated for
it.
It was, but it's a big publisher.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's
indie style.
Baldur's Gate's an indie game on the real on the real definition.
That's true. So Dave the Diver continues to surprise you as it goes on and on and on. Different play styles, different little winks to like, remember games that used to play like this, or remember games that used to play like that. The final boss fight, I'm not going to spoil anything, was really, really cool. And now there's a whole free DLC that I get to play. And then I think next week there's a Godzilla DLC coming out for this game.
That's really cool.
Uh-huh. So yeah, so like I'm going to be playing Dave the Diver for at least another month, because I 2 or 3 times in the last 2 weeks after I beat the game, I've fired up the computer and the kids are in bed and I'm getting ready to game and I got this whole fucking backlog of all this other shit I got to play and I'm going, man, I kind of feel like playing Dave the Diver. Yep, doing it. Playing Dave the Diver. Let's go. It's just its cycle is really addictive. And once you beat it, one of my favorite aspects of the game was the events. So it's like, hey, in 3 days there's going to be a shrimp party, or in 3 days there's going to be a cucumber party. So you got to amass as much of those ingredients as you can within those 3 days, so you can make the most amount of money fucking possible that night. And that is the shit that I'm hooked on. And now that I've rolled credits, bro, it's constant. It's constant events. The moment one's done, you get up the next morning and you're like, fucking shrimp party, let's go. We're getting some shrimp. I'm completely hooked on this game. It's so fucking good. My brother-in-law who bought me Dragon's Dogma 2 for my birthday, I bought him Dave the Diver for his birthday.
I can't wait to play it. It's
Shout
in my
out
bowl.
to my boy Russ.
It's in my bowl.
Also, It Takes Two completed. So me and my youngest Damon, we sat down and beat it last weekend. I did shed a tear at the end. It was very sweet and very cute.
I did. I cried so hard.
Fuck those jerks.
You stop it.
But seriously, this is the best couch co-op game I think ever made.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
At least for 2 people. For 2 people to sit down and play a game, I mean, it is really something. And we would talk about it because we don't let our kids play games during the week at all. Video games are Saturday, Sunday. It's weekend. If you're off school, it's fine. Summertime, they go ape shit and roll credits on 87 games. But during school, Monday through Friday, they're not gaming. Weekends, they're gaming. It Takes Two was all Damon would talk about. Can we play? Are we going to play It Takes Two this weekend?
Oh,
yes,
I love
Damon,
that. It was such a good game.
He was so hooked and so excited. And then when we beat it, he was bummed. He was like, "What?" But
because it's so good.
I wanted it to keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, I strongly recommend it. It's awesome. Also, restarted, and I mean like legit restarted my game of Control. I went in, said new game. It said, "Are you sure you want to delete your save?" Which I think was like 12 or 14 hours.
You were
or something
almost
like that,
done
and I
with
said
game.
yes. I started fresh. I want to. It's been long enough since I actually touched this game that it's not fair for me to go in and just like roll the last 20% of it. So I'm starting out fresh. The beginning of it is just as amazing as I remember it being. I got to give Remedy a big shout out. Their presentation for how they show things projected on surfaces, or like things that the way that you're perceiving things and the angles and the way that they do nobody else does that shit like they do.
They're pretty brilliant.
Like when you get a vision and there's like a person that's a shadow on the wall that there's not a wall there, and like just the way they do these things are really fucking cool. And then they've always been really awesome with like the TV stuff and the radio stuff, and like that's something they've been killing it since even Max Payne had stuff like that. But yeah, I mean the game's awesome, and I'm only like, I don't know, 2-3 hours in, but I have restarted because I need to beat that. I need to beat the DLC, and then I got to beat Alan Wake 2. So that's my next like big mission. Now what's gonna fuck me up is Hellblade 2 comes out in like a week.
I'm waiting for that game to release on PlayStation. I'm not going to play it when it comes out.
Yeah, really?
Because
You're
it's
just gonna wait?
100% going to come to PlayStation.
Why not just buy it on PC?
I'll wait.
Fair enough. Making a point.
I never stream a game as soon as it comes out. I always wait.
Yeah,
I always wait a good week.
I got all my trophies for the first one on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to wait because I not to harken back to our previous conversation, but there's no chance this game doesn't come out on PlayStation someday. No chance.
I think you're absolutely right. It's guaranteed for PlayStation at this point. Moving on. For those that aren't aware, if you are a GameFly subscriber, I think every 60 days or 90 days, I'm not sure which, but you get a $5 coupon that you can use for used games. And then they regularly have a used game sale. So I get a notification that they're having a sale, and I pull it up, and I'm scrolling through, and I'm like, dude, Return to Moria is $16, and I have a $5 coupon? Sold. So I bought Return to Moria on PS5. I've only played maybe 2 hours of it. It's definitely not totally my bag of games, but I love Lord of the Rings enough, and I especially love dwarves enough. I'm obsessed with fucking dwarves. They're awesome. So Mike looks puzzled about something.
Oh, go ahead, sir. I'm just making sure that I'm sending Gollum to Kim.
I'd probably power through it if you gave it to me. But Return to Moria seems like a lot of fun, and so far the presentation is kind of a step above what I was expecting, to be honest. So I'm kind of having some fun with it. Haven't played it much.
It's a nice game. It's more fun with friends.
Right.
It does get kind of samey. I put some. I don't even know how many hours I have.
I have
a few hours into it. I put a good chunk into it. Yeah. And it's okay. You know, we never like got really far in it.
Right.
Just because it's very like the idea behind it is real different. Like you kind of have to keep moving from area to area and like kind of rebuilding in that area because it's a pain in the butt to go all the way back to where you came from.
Right.
So it's definitely kind of it was all right. It was okay. Right. Yeah.
Well,
I do love the dwarves though.
I put $10 into it, so either way, it's a win-win. If I enjoy it for a few hours, I got my money's worth.
Yeah.
I am still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I broke the 140-hour mark today.
I'm disgusted.
I do have a little update to say on this game. As I've gotten further and I've unlocked more materia and there's more things that I can do and more build options that I can do, I think this has the best action RPG that Square has ever done. I like it's really good. Now that I have a limit siphon materia, and then there are materias that make it so that your characters that you're not controlling can automatically use abilities or automatically use weapon abilities, and you could just put that on them and they'll just spend their ATB on their own and build up. And now as I'm leveling up through the tree and I have more synergy spells that I can do, I now have a materia that if it's linked with another one will cast upon multiple targets. So my healer will heal all three at the same time. They can cast sleep on all enemies, or they can cast fire on all enemies. As I've gotten further and further into the game and I'm doing more of these combat trials and shit, I am really enjoying the combat in this game. It is light years ahead of Remake, in my opinion. But Mike, I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this game. I know it's a long one, but now I will say, for those that are terrified of playing a game for 140 hours, I have 100%ed 4 of the 6 zones, and I mean like every single fucking thing that can possibly be done, I've done. So I'm just I'm going that completionist route just because my wife is really enjoying watching me play it. I'm having fun playing it, and it's just kind of our nightly routine. We just sit down and do Final Fantasy, and we've been doing it for a while. But I am on chapter 12 out of 13, so I'm very, very close. I know I said 2 fucking weeks ago that I think I'm going to be done this game any day now. I'm still going, but still having a lot of fun with it. And lastly, I got a very happy email about 5-6 days ago that I had been chosen to join the Marvel Rivals test phase. For anyone that's not aware, Marvel Rivals is the NetEase developed Overwatch straight up copy paste. They're not even hiding it. I mean, it is Overwatch with Marvel characters. Now,
I disagree.
Well, hold on. I'll get there. I'll get there.
Okay.
One thing that really sets it apart from Overwatch is that it's not 100% a shooter. There are actually characters that really function as brawlers. You have Black Panther, you have Spider-Man, you have Magic, you have Hulk, you have a lot of characters that have almost no ranged abilities whatsoever, and the mobility is all over the place, and there are characters that can fly and stay in the air. Storm can stay in the air as long as she wants. Iron Man can stay in the air as long as he wants. All of these things make sense within Marvel canon. And I think it'd be silly to say, well, this is the Overwatch killer, because Overwatch is like one of the biggest games of the last 10 years. But I will say, I have had more fun in the last week playing Marvel Rivals than I have in the last year playing Overwatch 2. It is just a fucking blast. And I think when this thing is out and it's free to play, I think it behooves anybody who is into online first-person games, even though it's a third-person game, it feels like a first-person game. It's a blast, man. This game is a lot of fun. And I don't know, I've played it 10, 12 hours. I still haven't played every character. I mean, there's just so many characters in this test phase.
The test phase has like 19, right? They came out with a lot of characters.
Yeah, it's 18 or 19 characters. I still have not played all of them.
I was kind of surprised.
It's a lot. But the one thing that's taken me back with this thing is that, you hear NetEase is developing a Marvel game, and, I don't know. I'm thinking it's how many other licensed online battle royales or whatever the fuck have we had that are just garbage. I mean, just like cheap recycled garbage. And I know I started this statement with, it's an Overwatch copy. But I will say I am thoroughly impressed with how polished this game is. It feels like it's ready.
Especially considering they're mobile game developers.
It does not feel like a test phase. I mean, it crashes a little bit. It has a little bit of stuttering because I'm sure they don't have an updated NVIDIA driver for it, things like that. But I mean, outside of that, I get great frame rate. It doesn't feel incredibly like out of balance. There's a few characters that feel a little under tweaked. There's a few characters that feel a little stronger than maybe they should. But it's not bad at all. And I'm really having a lot of fun with it. You've played it too, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I played it today. The only thing I was going to say is the only reason I say it's not an Overwatch clone is because to me it feels a lot more like Paladins. Like, to me it feels so much more like Paladins than Overwatch because the movements are very Paladin-like, much slower than Overwatch. And to me it's just way more reminiscent of Paladins.
Well, and I would actually say that I think Marvel Rivals is more complicated character mechanics on not all the characters. There are plenty of characters that are very simple. Punisher, I jokingly call Punisher 76 because he's Soldier 76, except he has a shotgun and a turret. I mean, he is Soldier 76, and there are a lot of Overwatch similarities where like I got one beta invite key and I sent it to my buddy and him and I were on playing and he went, "What's Scarlet Witch's ult do?" And I'm like, "It's Diva's ult." Oh, okay, got it. I mean, and there are a lot of like spells or ults that are so similar to Overwatch that you can't not recognize what they're doing. But that being said, I've really been impressed with this game, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. But there are characters that are super complicated. Spider-Man is tough. He has a little drone tracer that you can shoot. It's like his only ranged ability that he has. And if it's on a character, they take more damage. If it's on them and you use your pull ability, it will pull you toward them. But if you use the pull ability and they don't have a tracer, it will pull them towards you. So you have to keep track of who has a tracer, who doesn't have a tracer, because you might hit the wrong button and pull yourself into the enemy team and just get completely mobbed. But the game's dope. I mean, I'm really surprised with how good it is. I think this game's going to be really big.
Everything I observe from it, I can draw back to Overwatch in some way. So I do agree, and I would vehemently state that, yeah, there might be some differences mechanically, but the game is an Overwatch clone. I mean, they straight up ripped the UI and the menu system right out of the original Overwatch and just copy pasted it and changed some of the fonts and said, "Oh, okay, it's Marvel."
Well, even just the fact that the maps are escort or holding the point, and then okay, you won that round. Next round, it's
they get 0 out of 10 for originality, but they're net easing the product. So, Blizzard did Blizzard things and ruined something they had that people liked by tinkering with it too much. So they just all that Blizzard did was they left a perfect blueprint of what people want. Take the budget of NetEase, one of the biggest names in the entire world, pair it with the Marvel license. Oh yeah, they just bought.
That's huge.
They just bought another cash register to print money for.
100%.
And yeah, all it has to do is just be on par with an old game that everyone's super familiar with. And if it exceeds that bar in any way, what else do you need?
I think it already has in one way. So, I mean, I'll talk about I'll just talk about it now. So one of the things you can do in Marvel Rivals, which I did a lot today, which was super fun, you two people can like team up.
The team up abilities, yeah.
And so one of my teammates was playing Groot, and I was playing Rocket.
Yeah.
And Rocket can ride Groot. And so it was like the way he said it was, I called him my Uber. I was like, it's great because I had a little personal Uber. And he was like, well, I had a fuzzy little life support machine because Rocket says support.
Yeah.
And so as he's like, bam, bam, and he's smashing everything, I'm just like, healing. And so we like held down the point so many times, this little fuzzy raccoon with a big old Groot screaming, I am Groot. And it was like hysterical. And I love that they added that. And they have that with a bunch of characters that you can kind of team up and do special things with.
Yep.
And I think that was a really cool thing they did. I think it was really different. And
yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, it gave it just a little something a little bit different, which I really liked. I had fun today. I did. It's definitely, to me, much slower than Overwatch, but that also might be the third person view that's making me feel that way. But I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it, and if it's free to play, I'll be playing it for sure. I don't know that I would buy it because I'm not a huge Marvels fan.
Right.
Huge Marvel fan, but I would play it when this thing comes out. I'm assuming it's going to be free.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I'll be playing it. It was fun. I'm not very good at it. I can shoot my healing blobs out though like crazy.
I'll tell you what I'm worried about is the skins that they're releasing in this game. A lot of them are taken from the comics, and when you're looking at the skin on the store, it tells you what issue it's from. Like based on Iron Man 562, blah, 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 blah. And like, I'm a big enough comic book nerd that I fucking already know when this game comes out, and I'm just gonna be like, oh no, they released the Spectacular Spider-Man #1. Oh no. All right, take my money. It's gonna be bad. when they start doing these fucking skins that I recognize from a comic, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, the game's dope, and I'm pumped on it. So that's all I've been playing these past 2 weeks. Mike, I know you're going to be short, so I'll just cut to you real quick. You haven't been gaming a whole lot.
I'm going to be short. You're right. So I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. Still, I've been playing this game since April 2nd. It's been a while, and I've only put 26 hours into it.
Oof.
So I'm halfway through chapter 17, so I'm gonna finish this game maybe tonight.
Damn, you're making good time
we
on
will
that
see.
game. Jesus.
I play straight to the point, my friend. Not really a whole lot to say about it that I haven't said already, but it's been a couple weeks, so I'll divulge a little bit. Nothing is better than playing as Barrett. That is God's honest truth. I love playing as Barrett.
Barrett is a lot of fun.
And Barrett's not even one of my go-tos in Final Fantasy VII to have in my party, but he is in Remake, because playing as Barrett, fucking awesome. Just sit in the back, popping steel skin, throwing down heals, do the magic Barrett build. What could be better?
Little focus shot here and there, you're good to go.
I'm enjoying Final Fantasy VII Remake. I am in the last chapter of Dave the Diver. I have not been playing the Stardew Valley portion of the game anywhere to the extent of my compatriot Johnny Paulus.
Both my farms are maxed out. I'm doing it all.
That is not a thing that I'm interested in, but yeah, I'm almost done with the game. I just need to have a little time to squeak together to finish her off. But the game that I've been playing the most, the little game that I've talked about a few times, and that game is called Balatro. Balatro is great, and Balatro is actually one of my first takeaways with Balatro was, man, this would be such an awesome mobile game. But then I remembered something. Oh, wait a second. I'm a sophisticated individual who got this game on PlayStation because with my I have the premium tier, guys, of PlayStation Plus.
Me too.
Every game that I'm talking about here can be played on PlayStation Plus, by the way. Balatro had its free trial on PlayStation Plus Premium, and that's how I got hooked on it. And so I just wanted to keep playing it right there, so I bought it there. And oh my God, does it work perfectly on your phone using the PS Remote app? So yeah, if you're playing Balatro,
so even just dragging with your mouse and shit, everything's great.
Well, no, you get the little virtual controller.
Oh, you got your.
Well, I have a backbone, but I'm not always putting the backbone on. If I'm just wanting to play a run on lunch break at work, no, I'm just using the touchscreen buttons, and I mean for that game, they work perfectly. So little life hack with Balatro: if you want it mobile and you have it on PlayStation, just fire up the PS Remote app. That game is so unintensive. You could just be wandering around anywhere with your mobile connection, and it's going to run freaking flawlessly. And that's honestly how I've been playing it the most. So I completed the 2 of the challenge difficulty levels, so I'm on to the 3rd. And I just love this game. It's so good. It's so good. I'm not going to bore.
It is pretty
with
awesome.
The details. If you kind of understand poker hands, you can play and succeed at this game. It's all about multipliers and maximizing them. So just sit down with it for like an hour, play it if you haven't, and see if you're hooked. But yeah, to Johnny's point, that's it, folks. That's all I've been playing. I expect, I demand of myself to have both Final Fantasy VII Remake and Dave the Diver completed by next week's episode, and I'll have some new and exciting games that I've checked out but don't want to talk about today, that I'm going to talk about next week. So, that's what I've been playing this week.
Awesome. Before I pass it to Cam, I did forget one other game that I played a little bit of. I bought into the Hades 2 early access because I just fucking loved the first Hades. So far, it's Hades 2. It's great. It's awesome. It feels like it should. The new character is a lot of fun to play, and that first boss has beaten me every single fucking time I've gotten to her. Yeah, it's tough, but it's great. And yeah, if you liked Hades 1 and you want to show your support, show your love, buy into the early access. My plan with the early access, honestly, I didn't even really want to play it much. I was just like, I'm gonna fucking buy it, so I'm just gonna buy it now. And then now I have it, and I'm probably gonna wait until they're like actually done. I think I'll wait till 1.0 till I actually sit and really play
I'm bouncing with excitement because My favorite period of Johnny's streamerdom, and Johnny has been streaming again, was when he was streaming the original Hades and watching that man go through the phases of having a complete emotional fucking breakdown. I got addicted to ending my day that way, and I'm hoping it comes back.
It probably will.
So
it probably
my
will.
life will get better when you start having a terrible time live.
Oh my god.
Where I can try and do obnoxious things with Blur to trigger you even further the entire time that you're playing.
Those trials and tribulations were worth it because I'm still really fucking good at the first Hades. I can go back and turn on like 12 multipliers that make the game harder and harder and harder and still mop all the way to the end, no problem. Moving on, Kim.
Yes.
What have you been playing these past 2 weeks?
So many games. So I had a lot of PR groups and a lot of publishers reach out, and so I got to play a lot of really cool games. Some of them were okay, but I have a couple games that I played that I need everybody to play. Okay,
let's hear it.
All right. So first of all, I was playing Marvel Rivals, lots of fun. I tried a game called S.O.L, Search of Light by Trigger the Monster, and it's a cool concept. It's basically like tower defense, but side-scrolling, really beautiful art style. And then you go into this area, and it's almost like the map from Cult of the Lamb, where it like kind of like you can take different paths that lead to different things, and then the boss comes and tries to take down your tower. And between like each time you go in and leave, there's the potential of enemies coming out and trying to attack your tower. Really cool concept, beautiful game. Definitely needs some work. I ended up ending it that day because I absolutely glitched out. But it needs work, but it's really pretty, and it's a really cool concept and very, very different. I was very intrigued by it.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. I played another game. I played the first episode back in 2019 when it came out, and they finally came out with the second episode of Scheming Through the Zombie Apocalypse. And it is by Entertainment Forge. And you are a rabbit, and your partner is a dog, Larry and Hank, I think are their names. And you're literally conniving people to go loot for you so you don't have to go into buildings where there are zombies. And it's really raunchy and it's hysterical, and I really love it. And it's like kind of like comic book style, and there's not like a ton of action. It's more of like decision making and like choosing your lines to see if you can connive somebody to go do your work for you. And it's I definitely recommend it. The first episode is only like $5. The second one is $6. And it's definitely like it's good for a good laugh. I think each one is probably about 2.5 hours long or something like that. And it's so silly and so fun. And I was so excited to see they had the second episode come out. And the art is really beautiful, and the voice acting is great, and it's hysterical. Like you almost feel wrong some of the things you say, but it's absolutely amazing. So I love that game. It was a good one.
Awesome.
Everdream Valley by Mooneaters. Little like sim game where you're on a farm and you're helping your grandparents and you're doing tasks for them. It's like a task type of game. Knock down some trees, plant some new trees. Very, very cute. It has really bad reviews right now, and I don't know why. I didn't look at the reviews, but from what I played, it was really cute, and I don't know why people would give it really terrible reviews. They may have gotten further than I did, and so they, maybe they saw that it was just samey. I don't know, but it was cute. It was a cute game. It was nice, relaxing. It's that like Dreamlight Valley type of vibe.
Yeah, it's cute. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've been playing lots of Dead by Daylight, back on a Dead by Daylight hook. I said hook. And it's been fun. I streamed it today, as a matter of fact. We've been doing a lot of Survivor, and I promised myself I'm going to suck it up and stop being so nervous about being killer, because there's a killer named The Artist who I love because she's beautiful and I want to try her. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of that, and I scream a lot when I play it. I've been trying desperately to get through Spongebob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I've been playing this game for what seems like, I don't know, I feel like I've been playing it for like 2 years.
It's been a minute.
And It's because it was the game that they picked out of the bowl for me, because everybody likes to torture me. And so I'm trying to get through this godforsaken game. And my buddy Ash, who is the one who picked it, every time I'm like, listen, I need help, Ash. How do you get through this part? She goes, oh, I don't know. I was like 6 years old and I cheesed it because the game was so broken. And I'm like, you're going to look up the answer right now. Because I'm like, I can't. But I'm too stubborn to say I'm not finishing this game. And plus, it's like, plus I get to see Patrick, and I love Patrick because he's just such a big dummy. Okay. All right. So now on to the games that I loved. I loved all of these games. The first one was Botany Manor by Balloon Studios. It is this really cool game where you play as a botanist. It's like way back in the day. You're playing as a botanist who is trying to write a book about botany. And everybody around you, all of the men who run these universities, are trying to convince you to publish your book under a man's name so that it has a chance of getting published. They're all belittling her, telling her that women have no place in botany, no place in the sciences. And it's literally you going around and solving these really cool puzzles to discover plants for your book. And it was so chill and so nice. And the puzzles were complex, but not so complex that you like lost touch of the game and you were frustrated. Like, it was a genuinely good little game. And it was so good and just so chill. I really loved it so much. The puzzles were really great because you really had to do a lot of thinking, because you got like, the puzzles were like, you would find something that would say, you know, something like, oh, you know, this, you know, you go into this area and you have 4 different, you know, plants or flowers that you have to find. And so you'll find a piece of paper that's like somebody wrote to you like, oh, I found this beautiful cave when I was camping. I wish you could have been there. These gorgeous mushrooms that were bioluminescent, blah, 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 blah. And then as you're walking through, you find something else that's talking about the cells of plants and how the bioluminescent plants have cells that are this. And you're like, wait a second. So you're like flipping through your book and you're like, wait a minute, I think this is this. And so it's like piecing together all these things. And it was really brilliant. And I was so happy with it that I emailed the PR person and I was like, thank you for giving me this game. That's how much I loved it. It was so good.
Wow. I mean, I'm looking at the trailer. It looks great.
So
I love
good.
the art style. It's gorgeous.
It was so relaxing. What a great game. I played another game that was probably, oh God, I just wish it wasn't over. I played Indika by Odd Meter. Huge thanks to 11-Bit Studios for giving me this game. It was one of the most bizarre games I had ever played, and I beat it. Talked about it last time we were on.
Yeah.
I cannot express to you, the ending was so good. And the game itself is, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not getting into it, Mike. So it was just, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to do spoilers. I don't want to hear if it's good or bad.
Like I'm that.
For anyone listening and not watching.
Oh, you don't want to hear if it's good or bad?
I'm so like, this is the next game for me.
I mean, but honestly, that's so subjective, though. You know what I mean?
I can tell just looking at it. It passes the eyeball test.
The game as a whole was probably one of the best games I've played in a really, really long time.
Wow.
And it's one of those games that's going to stick with me for a really, really long time. Like, it's one of those games that I wish I could go back and play again for the first time. I'm very happy with it, and I need everybody to play it. It's weird.
I might take notes when I play it in case you want to do a deep dive to get it all off your chest.
That'd be really. I'd play through it again and take notes. Yeah, I would play through it again. That was so good. Oh my God.
This is very much a Chem and Mike kind of game, by what I see.
Oh my God, it's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. And so finally, I played one of the coolest games I played in so long. I played a game called Crow Country by SFB Games. And it's literally like, picture like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, but set in a carnival. And you're playing, like, the characters almost look like wooden figures almost. And God damn, this game was so fucking good.
Oh, this is a Mike game. Oh my God, this is a Mike game.
It was so good. Another one with really cool puzzles. And hold on, let me show you what I had to do. I'm not even kidding you. This game was so detailed with everything you had to figure out. I quite literally have a notebook with all of the notes I found, because you have to piece together the notes to figure out where things are that you need to get this, to figure out this puzzle.
Yes.
It was fucking astounding, and I can't recommend Crow Country enough. It's up. I can't.
So
it's so good.
I have to close the sale for Mike Dawson real quick. This game appears to have tank controls. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I put it on more modern controls, but it does absolutely have tank controls. And then you can switch it to modern controls. Yeah.
Mike would go tank controls all day on that game.
So good. That game was absolutely, like, we had so much fun getting through it and figuring out where everything was and figuring out the puzzles and all those aha moments and then figuring out the story. Like, there were moments that we were like, what? It was so fucking good. I can't sell Crow Country hard enough.
Was it about
I can't.
5 hours long for a normal person?
I can tell you how much time I put into it.
If you say 10,
actually,
then I know it's 5.
Then it's 5.
I played for 17 hours.
Okay.
So it's like 8 or 9.
Yeah, I was looking at average.
I played
time
for 17
to beat
hours.
For just main story, 5 hours. Completionist, though, 8. So that would stack with Kim's 17. Because if you did a completionist or near completionist round, that would be about double the normal. And when you're streaming, especially the way that Kim streams, where she actually engages
for
with
me,
chat, then
I do engage with chat a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah, I'm going to say it was actually probably 16 hours because I started playing Dead by Daylight and forgot that I had Crow Country running in the background. So maybe 15, 16 hours.
Yeah, no, that stacks. So
but
I'm looking over on a PlayStation Store. They have a trial for it. It's free, a free demo, and then it's only $20.
$20, and it is well worth it. What an absolutely astounding game. I was so impressed with it. And another game that I kind of wish I could go through again. But Indika by far has my heart for this year so far.
Yeah, I can't wait to play that
Indika is my number one game for this year.
That game has been infuriating me a little bit, even though I haven't touched it. Because
why?
Since the end of last month, they're like, oh yeah, it's releasing on PlayStation. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll hold off on the PC version because I'd rather play it where I'm going to get trophies. So I've been holding off. And that is to say that I bought this thing already. So I'm like, I'd just rather, I've kind of hit this point where I've been busy. I'm like, I'd just rather keep everything that I'm doing right now over on PlayStation because then I can pull it up on my phone, and that's been working well for me. So still to this day, if you go on PlayStation Store and you look at it, it says it's releasing in May, but it doesn't give you a date. And every day goes by.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and the emails.
What the fuck is going on? Like, you've only got 2 weeks left to get this out in this month. Can you not tell me what the day is that it's coming out?
Tomorrow. I
Googled it 2 weeks or a week ago, and they said tomorrow. So hopefully.
Earlier this week, according to Yahoo News Singapore, earlier this week, Indika developer Oddmeter Games revealed that it will be out on PS5 on Friday, May 17th.
So if you go to the PlayStation Store, it just says,
I can tell you this.
No release date, no pre-order.
Right. This morning, I received an email stating to celebrate tomorrow's second coming of Indika, PlayStation and Xbox Series.
There you go.
XS.
It's out tomorrow.
If it comes out tomorrow,
so it's coming out tomorrow.
That is going to be perfect because it's just in time for the weekend where I'm so incredibly busy all weekend, actually, playing shows and stuff.
I can't wait for you to play it. I cannot wait for you to play it because, man, I need a clone too. That's why I'm like, I can't wait. When I move to Europe, it's going to be easier because I'm going to have somebody in the house who actually cooks and cleans and helps. So it's going to be amazing. But like, man, I can't even begin to tell you. God, that game. I
can't wait to play it. It looks awesome. All right, so that moves us to our final segment, which is called One Up. Everybody just adds one little thing at the end of the episode. My one up is not video game related, so I'll keep it brief. Holy shit, X-Men 97 is one of the best animated shows I've seen in a very, very long time. If you grew up on the X-Men animated show like I did when you were a kid, you really should just sit down and binge this show. It's really, really, really strong. I think it has a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes last time I checked. Like, it's really awesome. Mike, do you have a one-up for us?
Absolutely have the most important one-up ever.
Oh boy.
Do tell.
So there's this game that I'm sure that both of you have heard of by this point, and the game is called Animal Well. If you haven't heard of it,
Oh yeah, Donkey's game. Yeah.
if you haven't heard of it, that's fine. But educate yourself on Animal Well if you haven't heard of it, listeners. This game is one of those games that I've been waiting for a while. It checks every box for what I look for in a game. It is out. It is reviewing incredibly well. People are calling it like a shoe-in game of the year type thing. Here's why it's my one-up. Because for my fellow PlayStation brethren, if you have PlayStation Plus, they day one released this on the service.
Oh shit.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
I had no
Hence,
idea.
It's the most important one-up of all time because they did it
That's
with
awesome.
no fanfare at all. So if you have PlayStation Plus, you have Animal Well and can go play it right now. That's my one-up.
Damn, I didn't know that. I got to download that right now. That's awesome.
Okay. All
what
right.
about you, Kim? What do you have
All
for
right,
one up?
so my one up has to do with the whole like, hey, don't release games at really stupid times. So the Rogue Prince of Persia, a game I am so excited for and have been very excited for. And I can tell you right now, the devs are absolutely phenomenal. Like, really cool people. I am so excited for this game. They did something so smart because the game was scheduled to come out on a certain day. And guess what came out the day before? Hades 2. Or like 2 days before, something like that. Surprise, Hades 2 is out. And so they were like, hey, we have an idea. As people love Hades, we're going to push back our game and let everybody kind of soak up Hades and love on Hades, and we'll release later. And so they pushed their release date back, which was so smart. Like I even said in our Discord, I was like, this is the smartest thing. I am so happy that you guys did this because it was just so brilliant. So they pushed it back to the 27th. It's coming out, which I think was fucking smart. Like for like a small little game like this, you know, that, you know, it's not as like gigantic as a lot of games coming out. I think that was probably one of the smartest things they could have done. And that made me happy. So, and it looks like awesome. I can't wait to play it. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Well, that about wraps it up here for this week's episode of the Power Gamer Podcast. Be sure to tune in next week for another great episode. Until then, take care, and we'll catch you all next time.
I'm still signing off. God damn it!
Do it, please, because I fucked that all up. Because I don't have notes on that one.
We will, of course, be back again next week with another great episode of the Power Gamer Podcast for you to enjoy. Claps all around for Mr. Paulus driving the bus this week.
Thank you.
Until then, I'm Mike Dawson.
Good.
And I'm Johnny Paulus.
And Kim didn't get to play with Pixel Dick's Ponticello.
Didn't lose your Pixel Dick progress, Ponticello.
I love my Pixel Dicks.
Tune in next time. Take care.
Catch y'all on the flip front.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.